Your thoughts on this?
Outlawing guns won't stop people from getting them. Outlawing drugs and abortion will stop people from getting them. Yeah, that's true. Both are true. Yeah, 100%.
Which one do you pick? Republicans.
Yeah.
So this was on Instagram by, I think it's Libertarian that had the.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, this seems like a libertarian thing because they're like, it doesn't make any sense to outlaw. Now, my thing with abortion has more to do with murder than, like, you're not killing somebody by doing drugs. You're doing drugs. You're not forcing somebody else to do drugs. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with guns. I have a gun. I'm not forcing you to have a gun. But abortion, you're not killing yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're killing another person.
Right.
And that's my thing with abortion is, and that's why I don't say I wouldn't say necessarily I'm pro-life. You know what I'm saying? I'm just pro-decision making. It's not your decision to make at all. You know what I'm saying? You don't say I want to, my 3-year-old, he's just a pain. You know what? I'm just going to kill him. And the government's going to be like, that's fine. You make a decision for your kid because he's under 18 and he's your kid. No, that's not the way it works. You know what I'm saying? It's still a life, So that's my qualm with abortion. Look, abortion should have. If you want to have an abortion, is because 99% of abortions have to be, I just don't have a baby right now. That's it. No, my kid is gonna be sick, or I got raped, or incest, or whatever. If that's the case, then we can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We could work something out. That's fine. But I'm having an abortion because my boyfriend didn't pull out. You know what I'm saying? No, you got to be responsible, and you got to take responsibility for your actions. You should have thought about this before. Use your life as a story for the next generation now.
So, I was watching. Let's see,
Rick and Morty. You finally watched it.
My son was talking about Rick and Morty.
Your son watched it?
Yes.
Oh, Lord, you got to watch it.
Time to stop wasting time, get on with meaningful work, and stop picking on women and trying to take their choice away. I yield back to the balance of my time.
The time of the gentleman has expired. We welcome our distinguished witnesses today. Do you and each of you swear that the testimony that you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And I'll now begin by introducing today's witnesses. The first witness is Dr. Anthony Levatino. Dr. Levatino is a board-certified obstetrician gynecologist. Over the course of his career, Dr. Levatino has practiced obstetrics and gynecology in both private and university settings, including as an associate professor of OBGYN at the Albany Medical College. And Dr. Levatino, we'll begin with you. Welcome.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. I only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to get right to it. Second trimester D&E abortions performed between roughly 14 and 24 weeks of gestation. Your patient today is 17 years old. She's 22 weeks pregnant. Her baby is the length of your hand plus a couple of inches. And she's been feeling her baby kick for the last several weeks, but she's asleep on an operating room table. You walk into that operating room scrubbed and gowned, and after removing laminaria, you introduce a suction catheter into the uterus. This is a 14 French suction catheter.
Oh, crap, bro.
If she were 12 weeks pregnant or less, basically the width of your hand or smaller, you could basically do the entire procedure with this. But babies this big don't fit through catheters this size. After suctioning the amniotic fluid out from around the baby, you introduce an instrument called a Sofer clamp. It's about 13 inches long. It's made of stainless steel. The business end of this clamp is about 2.5 inches long and 1/2 inch wide. There are rows of sharp teeth. This is a grasping instrument. When it gets a hold of something, it does not let go. A D&E procedure is a blind abortion, so picture yourself introducing this and grabbing anything you can blindly and pull, and I do mean hard, and out pops a leg about that big, which you put down on the table next to you.
Gosh.
Reach in again, pull out an arm about the same length, which you put down on the table next to you. And use this instrument again and again to tear out the spine, the intestines, the heart and lungs.
Yep. Shock.
Head on the baby that size is about the size of a large plum. Can't see it, but you pretty good idea you've got it if you've got your instrument around something and your fingers are spread about as far as they go. You know you did it right if you crush down on the instrument and white material runs out of the cervix. That was the baby's brains. Then you could pull out skull pieces. And you have a day like I had a lot of times, sometimes a little face comes back and stares back at you.
Yo.
Congratulations, you just successfully performed a second trimester D&E abortion. You just affirmed her right to choose.
One more question, Dr.
Yeah.
Levitt.
So a little raw. He goes in and says, the reason I am being, I'm not trying to disgust anyone, but paint the picture of the reality of what was going on.
Yeah, that's what it
What's
really is.
really interesting
Tino,
is the rest of his
Why
testimony.
did you end your practice of doing abortions?
I did over 1,200 abortions over a 4-year
You could see the regret as he's saying that.
period in private practice, not counting the ones that I did during my training. I met my wife during my first year of training at Albany Medical Center. We got married about a year later and found that we had an infertility problem. After years of failed infertility treatment and several years trying to adopt a child, we were blessed with adopting a little girl that we named Heather in August of 1978. As sometimes happens in those situations, my wife got pregnant the very next month, and we had 2 children 10 months apart. 2 months short of my daughter Heather's 6th birthday, she was killed in an auto accident and literally died in her arms in the back of an ambulance. Wow. Anyone who has children might think they have some idea of what that feels like, but unless you've been through it yourself, you have no idea whatsoever. I know people find it hard to believe, but what do you do after disaster? You bury your child and then you go back to your life. And I don't remember exactly how long it was after my daughter died that I showed up at Albany Medical Center OR number 9 to perform my first second trimester D&E abortion. I wasn't thinking of it as anything special. This was routine to me. But I reached in, literally pulled out an arm or leg and got sick. Earlier on I described stacking up body parts on the side of the table. It's not to, gross people out, to use a simple term. When you do an abortion, you need to keep inventory. You have to make sure you get 2 arms and 2 legs and all the pieces. If you don't, your patient's going to come back infected, bleeding, or dead. So I soldiered on and finished that abortion. And I know it sounds, as I said, hard for people to believe, but I'm telling you straight up my experience. After over 1,200 abortions, first and second trimester up to 24 weeks and all the rest of it, and being very dedicated to it, for the first time in my life, I really looked at that pile of body parts on the side of the table. And I didn't see her wonderful right to choose, and I didn't see all the money I just made. All I could see was somebody's son or daughter. And I stopped doing late-term abortions after that, and several months later stopped doing all abortions.
So, yeah.
Damn, son.
Let's talk about it now.
Wow. That's crazy, yo. That's crazy.
It leaves you speechless. And we're both, obviously, if you can't tell by now, we're both individuals that are pro-life. And the mere fact that there are so many people that can't have kids and that are willing to take on, children, I can't imagine being this guy.
Yeah.
And having this woke moment, and you can't turn back all those abortions that he's done.
I think he had a realization of what was happening.
Like he said, I really looked for the first time.
Because for years you become indoctrinated to believe this, to believe that. Oh, it's just a clump of cells. It's just whatever. It's not a real person.
And after a while, so many times doing it.
And he's been doing it for years, so he should be not immune to it.
Like numb to it.
Yeah,
it's like
numb
muscle
to it. Just
music.
whatever, yeah, I'm just doing it. Whatever.
I do the same route on the bus all the time.
All the time,
My
blah,
route
blah,
never
blah,
changes.
yeah.
20 years. I don't even think about the turns. They just happen.
They just happen.
That's exactly. And then for him to have this moment where and it took something tragic in his own life to then change his views.
Yeah, to think that he had 2 kids during working this job. That means that his wife had a kid and he held a baby in his arm. Even probably the size of the babies that he aborted and didn't even think about it.
No, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's really insane. And look, when it comes to the women's right, you have a lot of rights. We've said this before. You've said that. You had the right not to have sex.
Yeah.
You have the right to protect yourself. You had the right to say no.
Yep.
You also had the right to say, okay, this happened, and I can have this child given away to someone who would love and care for her. But I don't think the issue I don't think the issue is resolved with individuals who are 20 and older. I think the issue can be resolved or tended to, going back to the junior high schools and teaching them early.
Yeah. Listen,
But
man.
what parents these days actually sit their child down and discuss these things?
I do youth ministry, man, and for years the church had the position of nope, abstinence, meaning no, don't have sex, just don't. The truth of the matter is, you're not going to be with them 24 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, eventually, some of them are going to go on their own and they're going to experiment. You know what I'm saying? You can't always stop them. You can tell them, don't do it. It's better. And I know as a married man, I know it's better to wait. You know what I'm saying? As a person that didn't wait before, I didn't wait. I was a kid and I went for it. Any opportunity I had. And after being married, I realized, yeah, it's much better to wait. 100% better to wait. You avoid so much problems. Everything's more.
But also live a little.
What do you mean?
Live a little.